Convener, Mtetezi, and today is a very important day to us as members of this public, members of the people of this nation. Mtetezi is a group that emphasizes on anywhere there is a violation of human rights, public petitions, and any violations of human rights. 3 days ago, we were here trying to express ourselves and exercising Article 37 of the Constitution of this nation. After addressing the media, I was attacked at the Nation Media House 30 minutes later, and I was admitted in Karen, and I was discharged yesterday. And today, I felt it's very important to continue with the struggle, because I always say one thing: I would rather die today or now rather than watch my kids suffering for what I could have done when I had a chance to. I remember back in 2017 when we were arrested because of Raila Amolo Odinga, and when we were at Central Police Station, after kutoka kwa cell, you know what does happen, finyo and all those kind of things. And I asked Raila, now it's my time to resign. I don't want to continue with this movement and this issue of fighting for people's right. Raila mwenyewe akaniambia, kama ulifinywa kidogo, hata kama ulifinywa makenda yangu iliumwa. That is part of revolution. As long as you are alive, you must expect such things. Revolution huwa inaisha saa zenye mtu ameaga. But kufinywa, kupigwa, kushikwa, kuintimidatiwa, that is part of revolution. And that's why the first liberation of this nation, our forefathers, when they felt like this nation is heading towards the wrong direction, hawakuwa waoga. They decided to be bold enough and face our Zungu. And that's why we are having the freedom we have right now. When our fathers in 2010 felt like this nation was heading towards the wrong direction, they fought for it with boldness. And that's why we have Constitution 2010, and that's why we can enjoy whatever we are enjoying right now. We are not taking that for granted. But as we head for the third liberation of this nation, we are ready for anything. We are ready to be arrested. We are ready for those goons. We are ready to be maimed. And we are still ready to die for this nation. And I always say one thing again. Leo nikakufa nikifaitia rights za wananchi wa Kenya. Even my kid, where he will be, ataishi kusema baba yangu alikuwa shujaa kwa sababu alikufa akifaitia not just my rights, but rights za Wakenya wote. And that's why kupigwa na kushonwa, it is evidently, even my face is swollen, that it happened. Walikuja na visu kwa sababu this is not a punch. Hii nilishonwa uzi 7 so that they can do whatever they did. But since because I serve a God, that's why I'm still alive and I can continue doing what is right to make sure that this nation have a positive impact and we live in a conducive environment. Today we have decided to bring a petition to court. Petition number 230 of 2026. We are trying to explain to the court that Opiyo and I is unfit to hold even public office. Kwa sababu the conspiracy, sasa nye mnaongelelea mambo ya mafuta mbaya, sisi tunaongelelea even the deal itself. Government ilikuwa imetuambia we need to have a government to government deal. But in this essence, hata hiyo mafuta kuja, it was not a government to government deal. So it means they even conspired before they even brought that bad mafuta. And that's why, even yesterday when I was holding a meeting with international media houses from the US and South Africa and Angola, I told them, I don't have a problem with salvaging the situation of this nation. My problem is you sitting down and conspiring to do what is wrong, knowing that you are doing what is wrong. The same CS ameitwa na parliament twice. Amekataa kwenda. On Tuesday, tutafanya mass action. Tutaingia kwa barabara na mimi naaji wa Kenya wote. Kwa sababu niko double sure, atajaribu kujificha ama kutafuta excuse asiende parliament. Sisi wenyewe tumtafute tufanye public arrest. To emphasize Article 1 of the Constitution of this nation. Tumshike tumpeleke parliament. Na tukae hapo nje ya parliament. Akimalizana na wabunge, tumpeleke Central, akae huko na wenzake kama akina Kipto. This struggle is not ending right now. Lazima tuendelee nayo so that we can salvage and save this na to save the nation. Otherwise, if we sit back, tutalia sisi wote na hatutakuwa na nchi ya kwenda. And that's why I'm saying today with a lot of respect and without contradicting myself, I'm ready to die for this nation so that my kids can have a better nation to live in. And so many people are surprised that niko hapa leo. We are trying to use diplomacy. And let me speak to President himself. We are only asking you, Mr. President, to tell your boys to follow the law. To tell your boys to follow the Constitution. To tell your boys to do what is right to the people of this nation. Sisi ndio tumewaajiri kazi. Na Wakenya wameniambia hawataki kuona Opiyo Wandayi akiwa CS wa energy. It is as simple as that. Kwa sababu ako unfit ku hold public office, na saa zenye mafuta ilikuwa inaingia Kenya, aliconspire na alijua mafuta mbaya inaingia, na ile contract yenye ilileta hiyo mafuta mbaya haikuwa contract yenye ilikuwa inafaa kufanyika. And as we move forward, hizo contract zilikuwa 4. There are still 3 more zenye zinakuja. So hatujui kama mafuta yenye inakuja ni mbaya, hatujui hiyo contract inakaa aje. And that's why we are trying to tell you, Mr. President, try to follow the law. Let your boys follow the law so that we can avoid losing lives. I can remind you on 2024, sasa zenye nilipeleka petition parliament, I said, we are giving you people 7 days. Mlete finance bill ya Wakenya wa kawaida. Hamkunisikia. Tukarudi kwa barabara and whatever happened. On Tuesday, lazima wanaume waonane. Lazima sisi kama Wakenya tutokee to emphasize what is right and what we believe is right. We shall following the Constitution and we shall following the law. Na leo pia na serve Inspector General of Police na Regional Commander. Hii energy kidogo ya kukuja kuserve notice ya maandamano hatuna. And that's why leo nimeamua kuongelesha wanahabari tukwambia on Tuesday tunataka polisi wa kutosha. Ndio tuweze kuzunguka tukitafuta Opiyo mahali yuko, tumtafute parliament. In case he find his ways there, tutaenda parliament kukaa hapo tumalizane na hao hiyo siku, na mambo ya Opiyo tumalizane nayo on Tuesday. Asanteni sana. Mungu abariki Kenya na Mungu abariki wote. Asanteni.
You know, Mulamba, I condemn with the strongest terms the harassment, bullying, and brutalization of Mr. Frank Awino for having the impetus and the brazenness to highlight the fuel scandal in Kenya, and for having the patriotism to fight for a better country. Whistleblowers, activists, revolutionaries, and leaders in Kenya, especially the young, should be protected by the government of the day. They should not be victimized. They should not be disgraced or indignified for fighting for a better country. Thanks to the investigative finesse of media houses in Kenya, we now understand that the fuel scandal in Kenya is a black hole that is sucking almost everyone. And it is apparent it is possible that the cabinet, the president, and State House are involved in the fuel scandal. We had half the picture the last time we gave a presser here, but today I can confirm we have almost a full picture of what is happening in this country. Before the forced resignation of the KPCMD, the EPRA boss, and the other guy who resigned, Mohamed Liban, the PS, Things had been simmering for a while. On March, the Chief of Staff, Felix Kosgei, held a crisis meeting with the National Security Council to try and source alternative fuel outside the government-to-government framework. I leave this to the lawyers to ascertain whether Felix Kosgei broke the law in pursuing alternative sources of fuel. We understand we have a fuel shortage in the country and most of the countries in the world, following the escalation of tension between Iran and Israel and the USA that led to the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, through which a fifth of global oil supplies pass through. And it is from this foregoing, I understand, that possibly the head of staff, the chief of staff at State House, felt the need and the necessity to push for a crisis meeting to discuss this impending fuel shortage and how to solve it. But this has not been discussed at length. We know Felix Kosgei works for someone, and we know he is not a madman. Even though he had the best of intentions, we are sure someone sent him. So who sent Felix Kosgei to chair the National Security Council meeting? Because we are sure it was not of his own doing. The president needs to come out bold and tell us that he was trying to plug the hole, he was trying to source for alternative fuel. The cabinet needs to come fully clear on this matter. They need to explain to us if they had a crisis meeting to discuss the fuel shortage in Kenya, because to me it appears they're sacrificing the junior officers. The EPRA boss is a junior officer. The PS Mohamed Liban is a junior officer. Opiyo Wandai is a junior officer compared to his authority, to the appointing authority. And this scandal has pulled more people than you would imagine. As at this point, it is hard to confirm that 3 more consignments are headed our way. That from the Ministry of Energy, 4 contracts were issued to import fuel into this country. I'm not sure whether the contract said you can import any kind of fuel, including a substandard one, but there were 4 contracts. We are discussing 1 contract that was aboard MT Paloma, that was not even supposed to come to Kenya in the first place. This ship was headed to Angola. The fuel was imported for Angola, a market that is more lax with fuel standards. But this ship found its way to Mombasa through One Petroleum Limited, owned by Mohamed Jaffa. There are 3 more consignments that are supposed to come to Kenya in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I leave this to investigative journalists, to the media, and to the lawyers to find out who are the owners of the 3 more consignments that are supposed to come, and whether these 3 more ships meet the standards of fuel in this country. Because we must be honest, we have a shortage in Kenya and in most of the other countries, and we need to find a solution to this thing. But the law should not be broken. We should not have irregular procurement and tendering, and certainly we should not break our own fuel standards because we desperately need fuel. Ukienda kwa bafu kuoga maji ishe au malizi na sewage. Ukiwa unakunywa chai ishe au malizi na sumu. We have a problem and that needs to be fixed, but the law must be followed. And those that are accountable and those that are involved in this matter, all must be investigated. I'm calling on to the DCI and the ESCC to move with speed to investigate the meeting that was held by Felix Kosgei and the meetings that were held before that, so that we uncover the entire situation and the entire scenario. We cannot have half the picture, and we cannot have you sacrificing the likes of Daniel Kipto and Mohamed Liban while his bosses are involved and have conspired to break the law in Kenya. Sir,
okay, sir, thank you.
Are we ready? Yes, we are ready. Are we ready? Okay, thank you. My name is Nyanjom Joshua, National Coordinator Mtetezi. Today we have a press statement. Mtetezi Grassroots Economic Justice Movement strongly condemn the violation, assault on our national convener Francis Awino, who was attacked by goons who disputed the press briefing a certain journalist and later inflicted injuries on him, leading to his hospitalization. The incident followed the Mtetezi public address demand for resignation of Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo and Trade Cabinet Secretary Lee Kinyanjui over the link of substandard fuel waiver process. With Francis Awino discharged from hospital, we filed a public interest petition in court seeking the immediate removal from the office Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo and CS Lee Kinyanjui on that grounds. 1. The office is linked to the waiver chain that enabled the importation of substandard fuel. Investigations have already led arrest and the resignation of junior officials. The assault on our petitioner raises concern of intimidation surrounding the scandal. The court petition will further seek 1. Immediate suspension of Energy and Trade CS pending the investigation. 2. Protection of whistleblowers and public interest petitioners. 3. Accountability for those involved in violence against Awino and journalists. Mtetezi emphasized that the attack on Francis Awino makes a dangerous escalation from the governance dispute into a matter touching on assaults, violation of constitutional right, and freedom of expression of public participation. That can't be allowed to continue. It stops here. Wandai and Lee Kinyanjui must go. Thank you.